thoughts on bringing a player with a history of his into your fold?
Well, I think both sides are still doing their due diligence. I know Ken and his staff have talked about it. He mentioned it to me yesterday that that they were looking at it, and from what I read, Evander Kane's doing his due diligence about us too, so it's probably premature. I haven't seen him play this year. You know, I've watched him play in the past. He's been a good player, but until everybody does their due diligence, it's moot point for me.
Let us in a little on, like, we all know he's a good player, right? He helped your team. You're a hockey coach, you're paid to win games, you want good players. Yet there's another element here to think about whether you want him in with your group and stuff. How do you deal with that as a head coach?
Well, I think every single case is different. If we get down the road and we become an option for him, then you do a lot of talking, see where things go, and you analyze it from where the perspective of everything is. If you think he can help your team, you analyze and see if he can help your team. But we're not that far yet, so I'm not jumping into that game yet. We got 9 players on the ice today for practice. There's lots more to worry about with our group than whether a player, decides wants to come play for us.
Hi, Dave. I'll jump in just because it's a similar line of questioning. And you talked about the guys that aren't in the lineup or not in practice because of COVID protocols. I'm just wondering with Evander Kane, this is a player that was suspended for a quarter of the year because of forging a vaccination card. I just wonder. Okay.
We're talking. It's a moot point.
Okay.
For me, if you want to ask Ken those questions, I'm not going to try to coach a guy that is not on our team, right? So if he ends up in Edmonton, then you could ask me all those questions. But right now, it's a moot point for me. I haven't even thought about it.
Fair enough. I just wonder about Leon Draisaitl. So what have you seen with him during this kind of 13-game slide? Maybe with any similarities to a couple of years ago when he had a rough December, and maybe how he turned it around? Do you see there's kind of a point where he's coming out of it soon?
You know what? Dry plays well, but the one thing Dry does is when things aren't going as well as what you like, he takes a lot of responsibility on himself. He wants to try to, fix a lot of things himself. And, I think there's some times where he tries to do too much rather than just relying on our team game. But it's his ability to affect the game is immense. But there's times when I think he can over-try that takes him out of some advantageous situations that he could be in.
A couple of years ago, there was that kind of dynamic with bringing Kyler Yamamoto in, a little bit of a change, a bump. Is there kind of a difference or change that you can maybe make to support him a little bit more, or what have you kind of getting out of it here?
Well, you look where we are right now, with the COVID running through, every day we're looking at a different lineup. Like, I've got 3 days set up for practice, and every day you're going to add 2 guys tomorrow, hopefully, if they test out, and the next day we're going to add another guy. So you're just trying to piece things together as best you can to get to Saturday and have a lineup you think you can win with.
Yeah, I was just further along those lines. What's it like? You're playing one game in 15 days, revolving door of COVID players. Just where's everybody at mentally in a situation like that?
Surprisingly, the spirits have been really good, and guys are joking about it more that, a year ago it was, you can't get it. Now everybody says, let's get it over with, so it's, the guys are in good spirits. Like the guys, I think we had just about maybe 3 or 4 guys that, not the 2 optionals, we had everybody show up and they've had real good skates both days. So we lost Turris last night is the latest one. So there's a couple guys in the minors that we were talking about it, and they're both on the COVID list now too. So we'll slug it through here for a few days. And like I say, I think it's Yamamoto and Cuckoo tomorrow. If their tests go right, can add to the group, and then the next day is another 2. I think it's Perlini and Bush. I think the next day. So I didn't ever think I'd get a sheet when the injury report when you get people available when the 5 days were available, and then the test, they got to do the testing to make sure they're available. So it's, when you're keeping a record of where everybody is and the day that they can come back, hopefully, it's not ideal, but we'll deal with it.
They're going to have to jam these games all in someplace. I guess, is that something you look at when the day comes, or you have to sort of almost prepare your?
I don't know yet, but I know, the Olympic break, they're going to, there'll be, I think a lot of those games will go in there. Then, as far as I know, I haven't seen a finalized schedule yet, but I think that's the goal, to where we were going to have the 2.5 weeks off. I think you're going to see games in there.
Yeah, it's one league, and in Canada there's lockdowns and empty buildings. In the United States, they're just playing like normal. Does that make it a little more frustrating from a coach's or a player's standpoint, that is almost two sets of rules for the same players in the same league?
You can't think about it. You deal with the situation you're in, and I think players are geared. They want to play. They want to get a rhythm and play. So that part of it is, I think, is a challenge. You can only practice so much, and every day with your lineup in flux. But we're not the only team like that. There's a lot of teams like that. So you get to the fan part of it, and it is different playing without fans. I'm just being dead honest. It's different playing without fans. The atmosphere in the building is different, and it looked like we were getting back to normal. Now we're taking a step back. Hopefully we can get back to normal for the stretch drive, and everything turns into exciting hockey like everybody wants, and get in a rhythm the way the players want.
Hey, Ken, just one question from me. Normal season, maybe the focus is more on making sure guys get enough rest with everything that's going on in the breaks this season. How much are you focused on, especially with these practices here in the next few days, making sure that the guys get their legs under them, are in game shape, I guess, for the game against Ottawa on Saturday?
No, it's a concern. We went through a tough stretch there, playing a lot of games in a few days and lots of travel and not much practice time. But now that being said, you're sitting around for a few days. Guys want to get up and going. So that's, we had optional practice the last 2 days. We had a lot of guys out there that they want to make sure their legs are staying where they should be, in legs and hands. So all 3 days, like the last 2 days, have been good pace. Today, the guys worked awful hard. They put in a good shift today. So it's players are cognizant of that, but it's a balance. There's times when you need rest, and there's times when you got to keep yourself up and running.
Thank you.
Hey, Dave. Over here. When you guys got off to that hot start, you would talk about how there was things you still needed to fix in your game, and you guys were winning those tight games. You're getting those power play goals. You're getting those timely saves, and now you're kind of on the other side of that line, but you're not getting it. But you're still kind of, it's a fine line, obviously, and you're on one side of it at the beginning, and you're at the bottom now. I guess, how do you kind of look at the schedule and say you weren't as good as you were back then, but you're not as bad as you are now? Like, you look at that and try to kind of fine tweak it and get it took your own.
You look at the process you're going through. Like, early on, our power play was really driving us. We were outscoring a lot of mistakes. There was parts of our 5-on-5 game that we needed to improve. Now, it's funny how it goes, because there's good chunks of our 5-on-5 game that I think are better than they were at the start of the year, but the special teams have dropped off a little bit. We can't find that extra goal we need, and that's what it's about. You got to find a way to win those games. Like, instead of we were winning 4-3, 5-4 early in the year, we got to start winning some 2-1, 3-2 games, right? And that's I said it before to our group that this adversity, it's a chunk you want to get by as quick as you can, but ultimately I think this is adversity that is pushing our game to be better. The details of your game have to be in place. The mistakes have to come out of the game. So, I think we're going to get this going the right way, and we'll be a better team for it. But, it's a challenge getting that, just finding that win. That's a hard win, but you're finding a way to get on top of it rather than behind it. And we've had too many games where we've been behind it lately.
You were heeding that warning at the beginning. I guess, is the message now resonate a little more when you're saying you don't want to be like, I told you it was coming, or I told you that we needed to fix these things type thing?
No, we don't treat it that way. There's always things that, even when you're winning, there's always things you're saying, okay, here's an area of our game that we have to continue to improve. So those are, whether you're winning or losing, the coach will say, oh, it's easier to teach when you're winning because they're they're all in good spirits. When you're losing, it's easier to teach because you're losing. So those are things that are just consistent throughout a season that you with your team, and it's an ongoing process, whichever side of the ledger you're on.
And this city is a city of extremes when it comes to the fan base. You know, you win a lot of games, they're planning the parade, you lose a few, want to fire everybody. How do you kind of block that out and kind of just focus on yourself and not the noise around you?
I don't listen to that. I've never been on any social media in my life or any of that, so that part of it's easy for me. I'm too old to listen to all that stuff, and it's just that part's easy for me. It's just you go about your business, you know what you're doing, you got to be confident in what you're doing. That's where I am.
Thanks, Dave.
Dave, our colleagues asked to speak to Ken Holland yesterday, and he kind of gave a State of the Union, but he said, I don't really have an answer for you because we've been at two extremes, a great start and tough recent times. I'm wondering, in light of the fact that, with the goaltender being hurt for all but 4 games, the COVID, the left side of the defense, has it been hard for you to evaluate what's needed because of the constant upheaval?
Well, there is some things that you dig into, and like there's some things you dig into that you think are a problem and they're not a problem, and there's other things where there's both team and individual issues that you're continuing to work on all the time. So it has been extremes, like back in one to the other, but there's a conduit that runs through the middle of that should be pretty steady, and that's what we try to work off of. Like there's a structure of how we want to play. There's an execution level that you need. The special teams have to be strong. Your goaltending has to be solid. I mean, all those things, you're trying to find them in place all the time to take the extremes out. Now we've gone to the top of the mountain with special teams, and now we're down in the valley a little bit. So we got to find that happy medium in there where they become a part of our winning success, just like 5-on-5 scoring or secondary scoring or your goaltender is really solid. I mean, all those things come into play. But what you're trying to do is, I'd like to get away from the extremes and just keep building, and then hopefully you're peaking at the right time.